So I had seen this the other day, right? And Megyn Kelly kind of was like defending Trump earlier when it was kind of teased that he might have something to do with the Epstein files, right? So I'm not surprised that she is defending Trump again, but it's not just defending Trump. It's the way that she was basically saying, like, oh, a 15-year-old is not as bad as like an 8-year-old when it comes to having relations with a child. No matter what age the child is a child is a child. So what you saying, Megyn Kelly? Let's go ahead and check out the clip, you guys. Here we go.
Moreover, Jeffrey Epstein, there are countless numbers of women, young women, who were brought into his houses and to his island and paid for, quote, a massage with a happy ending, for lack of a better term. I mean, countless numbers of women. And he did like them young. And there were several young women who he did this to, who were minors, who were underage. There's just no question about that. That is a true fact about Jeffrey Epstein. But that is not a true fact about Donald Trump. Mm-hmm. And if Donald Trump allegedly liked the barely legal type, we would know, Batya. We would know. We know virtually everything about the man's sex life, unfortunately. And we would know if he had a penchant for the super young girls at this point. Like, he ran the Miss Universe contest. Like, yes, we heard a story about him possibly going backstage into the dressing room at least once.
So this is where she's wrong. If he liked young girls, we wouldn't know, because that's illegal. That's why we don't know. It's illegal. Why would he come out and tell you that he did a crime? Like, is she stupid? She is stupid. Okay, I got you.
Not great. Not particularly shocking given how Trump was when he was younger. But we have not seen some slew of young women come forward to say, me too, on Donald Trump molesting them or having paid for sex with them when they were barely legal or otherwise. It just hasn't happened.
Yeah, in fact, at that same press conference, the lawyer for a group of the women actually said Jeffrey Epstein would prey upon women when they were underage, true and disgusting and horrible. And then the lawyer said, and when they came of age and he was no longer interested in them, he would then pass them on. So there was no pedophilia ring. There was a pedophile who did unspeakable things to vulnerable girls. And then they would age out of Jeffrey Epstein's pedophilic interests, at which point he would then start to pass them around to his friends, meaning that there were not actual crimes committed by anybody beyond. There's no pedophile ring. There's a pedophile and then a bunch of friends who were getting massages at that point from women who were no longer underage. This is from the lawyer at that press conference. So I think that.
So usually with a lot of girls, and when it comes to sex trafficking, they are typically underage. And then, because they've been basically brainwashed, they continue into that lifestyle. But I don't even want to say lifestyle. They're forced to do this. So, basically what she's saying is that, when they came of age, then Jeffrey Epstein passed them to their friends. And then that made it okay. No. That does not make it okay. That makes it actually even worse. And here's the thing. What we're not talking about is that the real issue with the whole Trump and the Epstein file thing is that, according to those emails, he knew what Jeffrey Epstein was doing. According to the emails that have been leaked, mind you, there's 20,000 emails, so we haven't even seen all of them. But according to a few of those 20,000 emails, he knew what was going on. He asked Ghislaine Maxwell to stop because he was poaching girls from his Mar-a-Lago. He learned how to do the whole get a modeling agency and pretend like he was going to make these girls successful. He learned that from Trump because Trump had a modeling agency before he had the Miss USA and all that. If Trump is so innocent, why does he hang around with other pedos like John Casablancas And I forgot the other guy. I think his last name started with a T. But there's another guy who ended up hanging himself in jail that Trump was around. Mind you, that's how Jeffrey Epstein died. He hung himself, quote unquote. Y'all got to start connecting the dots. Start connecting them dots. All right, let's continue. Trumpstein. Yeah, Trumpstein, exactly.
Kind of dispels a lot of the like salaciousness of the story. People are like, where is the justice for the victims? The justice is one of the people who did unspeakable things to them died in prison, and the other one is still in prison. So like they got their justice. And the whole ring idea, I think, has been wildly blown out of proportion for these political reasons.
I don't know about ring, but there are definitely a couple of very well-connected people who have not been brought to justice. I'm not going to repeat the names here, but one of them is a very, very successful business owner. No, I don't want to get sued, but one of them is a hugely successful business owner who seems to be a bit of a pervert, and his name is all over the papers. His connections to Epstein are very, very well known. They were connected financially. They were connected as friends. And
she's talking about Bill Gates. That's who she's talking about.
Like, I want to know more about him. There's plenty who I want to know more about who have been publicly linked to Epstein and seem to have dodged responsibility. That's my own take on it. It's not that I'm not referring to secret names only I know. I'm talking about names that are in the paper. But again, like without hardcore proof, you shouldn't say their names because you don't know whether they're true. But I mean, people know the names. We've heard them many, many times. Anyway, I do think there are some.
I'm sorry. So she's curious about this quote unquote billionaire who's Bill Gates. That's who she's referencing, you guys. But she's not curious about Trump. She's not curious about Trump. This is what pisses me off. Out of all the pictures and everything that you see right here, you're not the least bit curious about Trump, the man in the White House who is pictured with Jeffrey Epstein, who was best friends with Jeffrey Epstein, who, according to the emails, had been to his place. He didn't say island, but he said place. And also on his plane. Megyn Kelly, you're not the least curious about this man pictured here with Jeffrey Epstein. I'll tell you about folks.
Who are so well connected or did such a good job of hiding their tracks that they'll never be facing real charges. As for Epstein, I've said this before, but just as a reminder, I do know somebody very, very close to this case who is in a position to know virtually everything. Not everything, but virtually everything. And this person has told me from the start, years and years ago, that Jeffrey Epstein, in this person's view, was not a pedophile. This is this person's view, who was there for a lot of this, but that he was into the barely legal type. Like he liked 15-year-old girls. And I realize this is disgusting. I'm definitely not trying to make an excuse for this. I'm just giving you facts. That he wasn't into like 8-year-olds, but he liked the very young teen types that could pass for even younger than they were, but would look legal to a passerby. And that is what I believe.
That's not barely legal. That's illegal, Megyn. 15 is illegal. Is she stupid? He liked the barely legal, the ones that look like they could pass. And no. You either pass or you don't pass. There's not like barely pass. It was illegal. And this friend that told you about this needs to go to jail too, because obviously they knew about this all along too. So you need to go to jail too, Megyn.
Believed, and that was what I reliably was told for many years. And it wasn't until we heard from Pam Bondi that they had tens of thousands of videos of alleged, forgive me, they used to call it kiddie porn. Now they call it child sexual abuse material on his computer, that for the first time I thought, oh no, he was an actual pedophile. I mean, only a pedophile gets off on young children abuse videos. She's never clarified it. I don't know whether it's true. I have to be honest. I don't really trust Pam Bondi's word on the Epstein.
So this is the funny part. You don't trust Pam Bondi, right? Mind you, I don't trust Pam Bondi either. But you trust Trump? You trust that Trump has nothing to do with this? Even though he was mentioning the emails picture with Jeffrey Epstein, you don't think that it's skeptical how Trump does not want the Epstein files released, and he campaigned on releasing the files? He was hesitant, but he said he would release them, right? Very strange. And so again, Megyn Kelly is talking about how, oh, he had kitty stuff on his computer. Okay, well, that means that no, he does like them young. But it doesn't matter how young they are. If they are not legal, it's a crime. It's criminal. So she's doing this double talking. And I'll explain at the end why she's doing this double talking, you guys.
Matters
or anything else
anymore. Yeah, so I don't know what's true about him, but we have yet to see anybody come forward and say, I was I was under 10, I was under 14 when I first came within his purview. Look, you can say that's a distinction without a difference.
No, it's not.
I think there is a difference. Yeah. There's a difference between a 15-year-old and a 5-year-old. Yeah. It's just whatever. It's sick. Every time we start talking about Epstein, it makes your skin crawl, right? The whole thing is just disgusting.
Totally.
Anyway, well, what do you think? Does this stay in the news around Trump? Because I'll give you a couple of reactions here. You got...
Okay, so we can go ahead and stop that. So this is what I want to say, you guys. So the reason why Megyn Kelly is doing this, also you'll see this on X a lot. People are saying like, oh, Trump was the one that turned Jeffrey Epstein in. There's no proof that he turned Jeffrey Epstein in to the feds. There's no proof of that. But the reason why Megyn Kelly is putting it in this kind of way is because they want us to normalize this. They want to normalize it, but also they want to prepare us for the inevitable, that Trump has something to do with Jeffrey Epstein. So basically, when it comes out that, yeah, Trump was involved in this, that, and that, and this, like, oh, well, the girls are like 15. 15 is basically an adult. Didn't they go through puberty? Didn't they have their period? They're trying to train us to think that this is not that bad. Y'all not even, do y'all hear me right now? Do y'all hear me? They're trying to train our mind to say, oh yeah, 15 ain't that bad. Okay. Like, oh, it's just 15. They're trying to train us to think that this shit is okay. So when it comes out that Trump is a da-da-da-da-da-da-da, we'll be all like, oh, it's not that bad. MAGA is already trying to play in people's mind and brains and make this shit seem like it's not that bad. Oh, okay, whatever. And you know what the sad part about this is? I was reading something on Hollywood Unlocked. They had posted Bobby Lights from Love and Hip Hop. Mind you, I can care less about him, right? But essentially what he was saying was like, you know, we're going so hard for the Epstein files, but at the end of the day, nobody's going to give a damn. It's not going to change their mind. Trump gets away with everything. This is what he actually said. He said, my thing with the Epstein files is this. We have all witnessed Trump be charged and found guilty for numerous things, and nothing happened to him. And the fact he became president again. So what makes you think it's if evidence presents itself that his name is in the Epstein files, that anything will happen? I'd say stop asking about the files. Americans are just so bored because what change will that bring? Y'all just nosy. And, you know, at first I was all like, what? Like, what do you mean? And then I was thinking about it. Say if the files get released tomorrow, right? And Trump's name is all throughout those files, because of what we just watched right now with Megyn Kelly, they're already trying to get the whole narrative out there that, oh, well, the girls were 15, you know, just like the other girl, I forgot what her name is, next to Megyn Kelly, was all like, well, you know, he was the predator, and then he passed them along when they got of age. Trafficking is bad whether the people are adults or children. Trafficking is bad just in general. Like, it doesn't matter the age, trafficking is just bad. That's what we need to remember. Trafficking is bad. Not trafficking if it's a this or that. It doesn't matter the age. Trafficking is bad. Mm-hmm. And it's like, at the end of the day, oh yes, can you guys hit that like button whether you're on the vertical or the horizontal way? It doesn't matter the age, the whatever. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. Whoever knew about this and was a part of this needs to go to jail. Thank you, Queen Shay. Whoever knew about this and was a part of this needs to be in jail. Trump, so say this. Or let me ask you guys this. Let's do a 30-second countdown. I want to see in the chat for the replay crew. Put it in the comment section. If Trump just, and now, let's say Trump did not participate in the stuff, right? Let's just say Trump knew about this. If Trump knew about this, do you still consider him guilty? Yes or no? Guilty or not guilty, or guilty? I rest my case. Yeah, you're still guilty either way. You're still guilty. This is why they're also trying to, like I told you guys, they're trying to spin that narrative that, oh yeah, Trump was only hanging around with Epstein so then he can then snitch on him and turn him into the feds. Y'all really don't play in our face. Don't do that. Don't play in our face. Like, seriously, do not play in our face. We'll see what happens. Again, there's people actually, I don't even know where you go to find the emails, but what happened was that Democrats released 3 emails and the Republicans got mad, so they released all 20,000 emails. So right now, everybody's scrambling over the emails, and we hear new shit like almost every hour. And the one about Jeffrey Epstein saying that Clinton did not go to the island, that was real. Remember, I read that yesterday? Clinton was not at the island, and he never met Al Gore before. And listen, I was one of the people who said if it was Democrat, Republican, Independent, whoever is on there, need to go to jail. But so far, it seemed like only the Republicans have something to worry about. Y'all hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Y'all have a good night. We out of here, y'all. Protect the children and protect yourselves.